For years, I actually thought that creating brand guidelines is actually a useless activity, but right now I'm discovering that it might be the thing that will actually save your design. Hey everybody, what's up and welcome to another week of Designer Mind. This week I want to talk about brand guidelines. And when I say brand guidelines, I mean those docs that specify how to use the logo, do put it on this color or not on that color, do use this for illustration and not this. And for years I actually thought this is really, really useless because every, brand, specifically I work with, small teams that are just growing. So there's not a design team there over it. And if I'm creating the templates for them, whether it is templates for presentations or social media or stuff like that, basically they're going to work with that and maintain it. And you can't really constrain them in terms of what they can and can't do. And in either way, brands need to grow, need to expand, and those things evolve. And I felt like brand guidelines is kind of like a thing from the 90s that doesn't really provide any value any longer. But here's what happened to me last week. So I've worked with a client a year ago, helped them to create brand identity, and we did a pretty good job. And ever since I've worked with them, they've went on to work with a junior designer because I was a little bit more expensive to them to do like really small things that are basically iterations on the work. So for me, I wouldn't even want to take this work because it's quite boring for me. I like solving the high level strategic problems for my clients. And then if they need to change text in a slide or create a new slide for their PowerPoint presentation, I don't want to take this project, so my hourly rate is very high. So it's not going to be worth it for any of us. So they usually go and I help them set up the brand, and then they usually go work with a junior designer to maintain it. So basically a year has passed, and now kind of the client called me and I was like, I want you to review our materials because I'm not really sure we're going in the right direction. And they kind of showed me what the other designer did. And I have to say, I don't like to critique other designers specifically. I don't even know. You know what? I don't even know if they're junior or not. So I feel bad saying, but I felt like, wow, I felt horrible. I was like, we created a really nice work for you, and I felt like it really deteriorated, and you did some really horrible things. And I started to ask them questions. I was like, why did you change the template for, the presentation, and now you have something really horrible? So the marketing director, which is somebody that just joined the company after I actually did the project, and was like, oh, I actually didn't know that you have this. And so it turns out that because the company grew a lot, there was nothing internally to help them think about the whole graphic language and how the brand should look like, and who has what template. And they just started iterating about this. Everybody in the company just did what they want, and it kind of became like the broken telephone game. Every step of the way, it got worse and worse until at the end of the end result looks nothing like what I've originally created for them. So I saw this and I was like shocked, and then trying to think, okay, maybe we do need to create some kind of a brand guidelines, and maybe even need to set up kind of maybe quarterly review to review all of the assets that you're doing. Not that I am going to personally do them, but just to make sure that, they look according to the idea and the standards of the brand. Now, what I feel is the problem with guidelines is that you create guidelines depending on the problems that you have right now. So let's say, right now you need a social media post and a presentation and a website and something like that. And then they're going to need something else, right? Another something that they will need to design, and they're not sure how the brand guidelines how to implement the brand guidelines on that specific application. So they're going to try something new. So what I feel now at this point is, you probably need brand guidelines to make sure that, nobody starts inventing new elements for the brand or changing the core assets such as the colors and how you use typography and how you use the logo, that type of stuff. And Also, that brand guidelines is not something static. It should probably grow together with the brand. So it might expand or change on on some kind of a timely basis. And even if the client doesn't have an in-house designer, it should probably be reviewed by somebody even externally every few months. So basically, this is what I'm going to offer them right now. And I do think that there's two things here to take away. First of all, I'm probably going to add this to my package right now. So before I wouldn't do this and I wouldn't package it. I know a lot of other designers are selling this as part of, their offer when they're doing branding. They're having a line item that's called brand guidelines or brand book or something like that. I never did that before, and I'll probably add that right now. So that's another item to sell and probably charge for. But as I said before, I'm probably going to do something that is going to be like a quarterly or yearly review, which is just like schedule a meeting with them and then come on, review everything that was done. If the brand guideline needs an update, let's do this together. Let's just make sure the quality is maintained over time, which is basically what I feel like the brand guidelines should do. Let me know how you feel about brand guidelines in the comment below. Would love to hear how you solve this with your clients, and I'll see you on the next video.